There we go. Now we got audio. OBS updated and changed a few settings. But we're back and running here. Gone for a week or two, but looking forward to do a little bit of work today. Definitely getting a little bit of a late start, so bear with me as I push a few buttons, make sure things are working. Make sure I can see folks chat. Drop too many words. I'm using too many words. Let's do that. Well, it's been kind of in a strange place. It feels a little bit of a strange place for the development right now, right? Like, I've got a lot of the game done. A lot of the easy decisions made. Sounds really quiet on your end, huh? Let's see here. Let's turn up volume a little bit. Oh, you know what? I was just saying that OBS, let me just keep talking here. I'll raise it up. There we go. OBS updated and it looks like it lost some of its audio settings. So let me know if that's better. Thanks for joining, Nick Scar. Always appreciate it when you drop by. Let's see here. Let's get a few other buttons pushed. But I'm kind of in this weird space, this tough space, if you will, where I've got a lot of the game working. A lot of it is working. A lot of it's playable. The visuals are okay. Right, you can always make those better. You can always add a little bit more polish. But really into kind of making what feel like small but important decisions in terms of styling of sound effects or particle effects, or really kind of like dialing in that gameplay, which is, you know, I've been working on that for a while, but it really feels like writing up a blog post. I'll maybe make a video here at some point, but like thinking about this idea of like closing the game loop, like getting that first 15 or 20 minutes really dialed and feeling good, making sure there's a good loop for the player there. And I think we're getting close, but I don't know. It's this interesting thing where I feel like the decisions that I make in the next couple of weeks are really important. I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's kind of where I'm feeling at the moment. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Let's, you know what I was going to do too? I was going to, while I'm faffing around here, while people are joining. That's not what I want to do. I was going to drop a little link in Discord. Got a few folks who have signed up for a specific role for the game. So let's drop it in there and see if folks want to come and hang out a little bit. All right. I think I have pushed all the buttons. I think we're all ready to go here. But anyways, yeah, so I'm also in a little bit different position. I'm playing around with my camera here a little bit. I've got it attached to my stand-up desk, so perspective's a little different. Been wanting to figure out how to do streams while standing, so camera's no longer mounted on the wall. It's mounted to the desk. Oh, let's see. What you got to say here, Dustin? You know, after this much work, it's probably not enjoyable as much to work on the game, but from the outside, it seems like these little tweaks would be fun to implement. Absolutely, absolutely. And it's just, you know, it's what it is it's, for me, I think it's like this little bit of internal pressure, right? Of like, okay, you got to do it right. You got to do it right. And like once I moved beyond like the systems, like creating the systems for me, that's fun. That feels really easy, but it's just it's hard, right? Like, does this particle effect look good? Does that particle effect look good? Like, you know, does it stay in the theme? All that stuff. It's, yeah. I think it's mostly internal pressure on my own. So let's see here. Let's are you You're not gonna work. All right, let's go over here. So there's a few tweaks here I've been playing around with. One, visually, I've added in a little bit of atmospheric, a little bit of fog, a little bit of volumetric lighting. It's really subtle, and it may not even come across on stream, but I really like it. Let's see. Oh, did I turn off our fog? Oh, there it is. It's just being a little slow. Also, I don't know if folks have seen this all. I've got let's see. I've got some fog added in here, tile-based fog. I know a lot of people didn't really love it. I don't know. To me, it felt good. I liked it. Like it's got a pretty decent effect. It could always be improved. Let's see here. Let's add in some towers so we can kind of see how this works. I don't know. For me, it feels pretty good. It hits a lot of the boxes of what I wanted for like a Fog of War. The performance of it is still pretty good. And it really, to me, it communicates the pieces that I wanted the most. Like if I zoom out here, right, you can tell like there's all this undiscovered space. The boundary of it needs some love. The mountains, the repetitive mountains, does not look good. But like it shows where you can see, and it shows you where you can build, right? There's these empty spaces here. So as the player discovers the ability to build tiles, then that'll work. That'll show that. So the other thing I was going to show here. So if I move these guys over here, right, they can see some more around them. But if I move them back, I made this decision. I think I like this. So what this is showing here is that this tile in particular, you've discovered it, you've seen it, you know there's something there, but you can't see what's going on in that tile. Also, the empty tiles don't fill back in. So you're still able to see the shape of the land. You're able to still kind of see what's going on. I think it works. Yeah, the ice wall, exactly. Well, I mean, it's a flat world, right? Flat Earth. The mountains definitely need some work. I was hoping that would look better than it does. It doesn't look great. And I think the other thing, I was thinking about that in the sense of like these tiles, because they're not the traditional, they're not the fog that I had earlier, right? Of like the hazy cloud. They were these tiles. It almost feels to me a little bit more like a board game, which I'm not opposed to. I kind of like it. And there's a part of me with these mountains, this border, maybe just embrace that feel and like actually put in some sort of boundary around it that looks a little bit more like the edge of a table or something like that. I don't know. I think it works. I like it. I like where it's going. Let's see some other changes I've been making here. This one, I think this is gonna come in a video here at some point. But one of the things I was stuck on the last couple of weeks was, okay, so right now the little assistant down here guides you through some functionality, gets all your basic buildings going. You get the first wave of enemies. You defeat those enemies, and then what? Okay, like what do you do? The landmass was really small. You couldn't build more tiles right away because you hadn't collected enough resources from the enemies. I was kind of stuck a little bit. And so one of the things I did, and this solved a couple problems, is the water and this tile here, these rocks, these ore tiles, are really crucial to the player. And on that really small landmass, it was possible to fill in all the spaces around the water or around the ore with the quote unquote wrong buildings. Like if you put your solar panels all the way around it, it just like, you know, you're asked to place 3 solar panels, and it was really easy to block the ore or block the water. And so what I did instead is now when the world gets built, we surround the initial water and the initial ore with other tiles, mostly grass, a little bit of forest. Occasionally there's a little bug and it leaves a tile out, but that did 2 things. I made sure that those really important resources that it's almost impossible to block them. And it added enough terrain that once you're done with that first wave of enemies, you have room to continue to build your base before you can build your own tiles. And I really, really liked that simple solution. It felt really good. So, and it still gives you a pretty limited chunk of land to build on. Still really, I think, emphasizes the need to build more land and stretch out and explore. But for that first 10 or 15 minutes, or whatever it takes to be gather enough resource to build tiles, I think it gives the player something to start with and something to expand into. So I think it's cool. Yeah, Adam. Yeah. Hey, Adam. Glad you joined. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The tabletop games border. Yep. I know. I wonder if I can kind of embrace that theme a little bit more. Certainly if it was a turn-based game, that could embrace that better about. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at. Like, the game's pretty functional. We can get through the first enemy wave. And I guess the other piece that I've added, and this is kind of like completing that game loop, like a little bit. And it sounds a little cheesy when I say it out loud, but we've got the supply ship here. So if the placeholder is the wrong placeholder, but we can fix that. We got the supply ship here, and the idea here is, if we boil it down, we essentially kind of get a little bit of a fetch quest, right? Of like, hey, you need to gather this resource and send it out of the system, which by and large is kind of the theme of the game, right? Your idea is that you are creating this network of supply chain for a larger effort. And so you're going to get sent down to establish these bases, produce resources, and this supply ship is what's going to take that away. That's going to move that. And with the right steps in the tutorial, so to speak, with the right directives, this will get filled up. It's got a nice little launch mechanic too. Let's see if here we can make it look a little prettier. It's got cubes on it. I gotta do this in a different order. I gotta turn that off. So it's got cubes in there, and then let's see where base class. So we can do a test launch. We're at a launch. Oh yeah, Adam. The quests are definitely going to be directives. Oh, 100%. 100%. And so what I'm thinking about this is, rather than it just being, and I guess this is still like completing that game loop. This is kind of those last steps. Things that I'm thinking about there is, so rather than just being like, hey, you need to produce 100 and blah, blah, blah. Go do it now, right? Okay, and then it returns automatically after 30 seconds. Is potentially, so when you get to this stage of the game, and you're able to build the supply ship, you've made it past that first wave of enemies, then maybe there's a little pop-up and you're choosing between directives, you're choosing between quests, if you will, right? And maybe in the full game, but maybe just in the demo, that might be then how you unlock additional buildings or additional updates or upgrades. That way the player maybe gets a little bit of choice. Hey, here's 2 or 3 directives, choose whichever one you want. Still kind of playing with that one in my head, seeing how that one feels. That's definitely the direction I'm leaning, but still playing around in my head of like, does that hold interest, or does that really just feel like, okay, I got to choose between 3 fetch quests, great. Or does having those those like building unlocks or the upgrades to units attached to those directives, does that give that kind of sense of choice and meaningful decision? I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Next card. Yeah, the player choice. It's got to be meaningful. So, I mean, the idea here too. So again, like, depends how. I have a lot of thoughts about like where the game goes after a demo. So one of the thoughts was that there's these individual levels here that you're building a base on, and um, and that in itself, the demo would just be one world. But then there's a larger galactic or world map where you're actually building a larger supply chain um, by building several of these worlds. And so another thought here is that these supply ships could be a way of sending material from your current from past bases to your current one. It's got some scaling issues. It's kind of a thought, and some challenges. I think a lot of these decisions too come down to theming and presentation. If you theme them right, if you present them right, they can feel good and engaging. Like I was surprised even just adding this this little I don't know, assistant down here at the bottom right with the text and the voice, how much better that made the game feel. Like I already knew how to play the game. I already knew what buildings I needed to place and where to place them. But having that like really added something to the pacing and the feel of the game, which I really liked. So I don't know. And I've been playing a few other kind of base building, what do you call them? Production line games, and trying to like drill down into a little bit of like what makes them fun, what makes them interesting. And at some level, it is just the building process, which is fun. And so I want to keep these directives, these quests, I want to keep them kind of useful and pushing the player forward. Like, hey, here's what you could or should be doing next. It's an option. You don't have to. Kind of giving the player a little bit of some breadcrumbs of where to go, as much as anything. Yeah, Adam, careful with overscope for sure. Definitely overscope, and that's why like I'm really focused on this experience right here. And I mean, let's be honest, if I put this game out, it's not going to sell thousands and thousands of copies. And so going to that overscope, it's in the back of my mind as a potential, but I also want to make this single world experience an enjoyable thing. And if for some reason the game becomes popular, there's a roadmap to take it further and go further with it. But that's a pretty big if. And really, what I'm really focused on right now is I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing now is compatible with that bigger roadmap, or I'm not doing a whole bunch of work now to like finish this demo and then I'm going to have to undo that for a larger game. But I really am focused on like that 15 or 20 minute experience. If I can create a 15 or 20 minute experience in a demo and then get a trailer out, I'm going to be really happy. If I can do that in the next 3 or 4 months, I would be pretty happy. With the holidays coming around, work's definitely going to slow down. I think I'm expecting it to. But that again, that's really where I'm focused, and this is why I'm just like going carefully and cautiously of like, okay, how do I make a 15 or 20 minute demo that in itself is interesting, but still works with this larger vision if I choose to ever go to that larger vision. We'll see. We'll see. Cool. Let's see here. Next car. That sounds great. Your previous worlds accelerate the progress on expansion. Exactly. Yeah, that's the idea. Having multiple worlds adds the problem of making them unique or adding something new to the player experience. A lot of work. I absolutely 100%. I'm concerned about that. Right? Because if you've got 10 worlds that all look like this, that's not awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely. There's another thing that's kind of bouncing around in the back of my head. Like, what would different biomes look like? How would it be different? Yeah, yeah. And again, I think, right, keeping the scope of the game small and being realistic with who I am and what I'm able to produce, like, even if it's just one world like this, one level like this, you can have fun with the building aspect of it, right? Like, there's a lot of space right now. I mean, this, go to the scene view, right? Like, it's a fairly sizable, world right now. Um, there's plenty of room to expand. And and the size of this world is fairly arbitrary. But yeah, 100%, 100%. More worlds means more variety, which means a lot more work. Adam, you're pretty funny. You're pretty funny. Adam, we'll have to get you as a character in here. Just popping up saying dumbass stuff, entertaining us all. I mean that with love. Yeah. Right. Again, yeah, the Star Wars thing that every planet's a single biome, and I've thought about that too. And I guess part of, in terms of just talking about different biomes, right? If you've got like the grassland, really the grass works. Like you've got the little grass and the rocks in the corners, and again, the reason they're in the corners is so that they show up when buildings are placed. It doesn't have to be that way, right? You could put in more grass. Um, but one of the things I struggle with, right? Like there's sand out here somewhere. There's some sand out here. Um, but like how with this style art, how would I show other biomes? Like how would I show that? And sure, you could change the colors a little bit. You could have brown grass or slightly greener grass or whatever. But how would you show marshland or jungle or um, yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge. I mean, yeah, you could have a snowy world, I suppose. I don't know. If the snowy world, if everything was covered, all the grass was white, might be a little hard to look at. I know, and all these conversations that I have with myself, and well, effectively, I'm still in a room talking to myself. I just have a few people out there listening to me now. All these conversations I have, like, there's this part of me of like, well, you should have thought about this all before you started the game. You should have thought about this all before you started the game. And I don't know if I kind of agree with that, like self criticism. Like, I'm kind of enjoying the idea of like creating as we go and making it work as we go. Like there's this big picture template of the game, right? At some level, this is not a novel genre. Like this is well defined, well explored. Um, yeah, exactly. Next guy, there's some emergent development. Like it needs to feel right. Um, and for the most part, the systems are pretty flexible. They're pretty flexible. So, hey, Samuel, thanks for joining. Yeah, just kind of blabbering on here about game design issues. Things that things that I think about when I wake up in the middle of the night, or when I'm eating dinner and off on a bike ride. All right. Well, one of the things I was thinking about was, let's see here, what you guys have to say here before I talk anymore. Let's hear. Adam heard this fantastic speech from the Rocket League guys talking about finding the fun. If you overplan and stay too rigid from the start, you'll have no way of knowing if it's fun. Absolutely. Absolutely. You just get stuck in planning for 100%. 100%. And that's why, like, I keep, at least mentally, and like, I think this will be, I'll put up a blog post and a video here, hoping to have the blog post done and get some of the recording for the video done next day or two. But it's like this idea of like completing the game loop. That's the piece. I need to complete the game loop. We've kind of got this like exploration, build, defend. We've got those pieces, but we kind of need those all work, and they need more time and polish. But you gotta like complete that game loop of like, why, once we're done building and defending that first round, why do I keep building? And that's the question that I'm really trying to answer. Like, why do I keep building? And I think in a lot of these games, people just enjoy the process of building. And so in some senses, that is its own satisfaction, right? You go play a city builder, right? People, for the most part, are just having fun building. But that's really what I'm working like. That last leg, got to close that game loop and make it fun. Let's see here, Dustin. Do you intend on a single world that you keep building on, a single map, like in Civ, or would you explore new areas of the planet and start over with base building and stuff? We were just talking about that. Yeah, so that's one of those decisions that I just haven't made yet. And if I'm perfectly honest, it's going to depend on how excited I am to continue the project and if the game picks up any momentum, right? If I put out a demo here and we're picking up, 1,000 wish lists a week, yeah, we'll probably start putting that kind of framework, that roadmap in place with something bigger. There is a world map. I have prototyped a world map. But whether that gets its proper level of polish and it ever sees the light of day, we'll see, right? Because as Nextcar and Adam are warning, right? Like, overscope is a real issue. And as soon as you open up from one level like this to a whole world, it adds a lot of work. Adds a lot of work. And Nextcar's absolutely right. Like, if there's 20 worlds and they all look exactly like this, it's just not doing much. Let's see, Samuel. It can be like Age of Empires, and you're head to head against a real enemy with ranking system. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it could be. It could be. I don't really have any desire to make this multiplayer. In my experience, multiplayer really, especially on a game like this that's got so much going on. It basically doubles your development time. If you were building a multiplayer platformer where there are interactions, but it's just a few objects on the scene at any one time, it's definitely more doable. But and I have some thoughts too of like on that world map. Maybe there's some AI, but with like other, maybe in change the theme a little bit, and like you're a little corporation trying to like build your network, and there's these other corporations out there. I think that could work, but again, that gets overscoped. And if you can do those things, but if you don't do them well, you can kill a game, I think. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Keep throwing ideas at me. Keep throwing ideas at me. So here's kind of what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking right now. I often usually put a lot of thought into what I want to do on stream just to make sure that it's, kind of viable for a stream. And I got a big to-do list and I got some bugs to solve, but I really am thinking about this closing the game loop kind of thing. So maybe we explore that idea and finish up that mechanic. So I think there's a lot of, and again, fully love the ideas. One of the big reasons that I stream is to get ideas from you guys and share those ideas. So if other people have other ways of like closing that loop and other like directives or quests, let me know. I want to hear them. But maybe what I want to do now is work on this framework of choosing your directive, choosing that directive. Hey, that's the thing I want to work on next. And then here's your reward. Maybe you get 2 or 3 of those. Here's your directives you get to choose. And, for now, we stay with the pretty basic fetch quests of like bring a certain amount to the supply ship and yada, yada. You're good to go. And let's see how that feels. That might be what I want to do. Cool. All right, let's do that. Let's build that framework. So that's going to be some UI. We're going to have a UI that pops up, gives the player a choice between some directives. Hey, you can choose this one, you can choose that one. And we'll have to break those down into like some categories. So I guess if we just kind of stick with fetch quests, that's for now, at least that's not too hard. And each directive could probably be its own scriptable object with the objectives, the reward, any sort of limitations on it. That could work. Maybe we'll do that. Dustin, let's see here. Cores exploiting the world. I'm getting some old mule vibes. Yeah. Another thing I want to explore too, and I think so. Backtracking on a lot of these like game design issues, like I think part of what it is too is that I just need to spend a lot of time like playing the game and like, does this feel good? Does that not feel good? Because what I was going to say, one of the things that I want to explore and see if it works is, and again, your idea of exploiting the worlds brings that idea, is that right now, like this ore, right? It gets, let's see, where is it? You can build a mine over here. And that mine, right, extracts ore. And right now, those resources are completely unlimited. It's just going to crank out ore as long as you can supply the mine with energy. It's just going to crank it out. So one of the things that's in the back of my head, like how does it change the dynamics of the game if this ore is limited? Not like severely limited, but like limited. That also, again, brings up a little bit of scope in the sense of like, okay, if I do that, then I probably need some sort of visual indicator of when we're getting low. But that's probably just 2 or 3 more tiles with different amount of rocks on them. I don't know. Some other thing to think about. Yeah, Samuel, exactly. Kind of a little bit of roguelike, choosing your objectives, where to go. The other thing I should show, can't remember how functional this is. I think I got it functional enough maybe to take a picture of it for something else. Let me bring this up. I don't know if this will work. Speaking of kind of roguelike and taking your choosing where to go. So I just turned on this button up here. This is supposed to open the tech tree. We'll see how well that. Nope. Nope. Let's see if that'll. Did it really not open? Oh, yeah, let's see, does that show now? There we go. So again, speaking of scope and scope creep and all that good stuff, what I also have here, and this has been prototyped along with, this got prototyped a while back with world map and like just making sure I could build these systems of how I wanted. I've got a procedural tech tree here. It looks like I broke the ability to pan around. But the idea here is that, and again, your roguelike comment brought this up to me. Brought it to mind. Sometimes the words just don't come out right. What are you gonna do? You got this procedural tech tree, and so what you have is every tier or level of technology is given a different color. So you can see here, we start here with the headquarters unlocked, and then we've got these white ones that are always around there. We go to green and blue, pink and orange, and so the player can kind of choose where to go, where to put their energy, so to speak. And again, that kind of is counter to the idea of these choosing your directives. What do you want to unlock next? But maybe not entirely. Maybe not entirely. Or maybe, okay, so here's an idea. Dustin, I'll answer your question here on the bad guys here in a minute. Let me run this idea past you. Since you guys are appreciating all your guys' feedback. What if, hey Samuel, thanks. I appreciate you dropping by. Probably won't be on next week. It's Thanksgiving here. Not sure where you're from, but here in the States, all right, holiday. Be back in 2 weeks. Actually, I'll probably be back tomorrow and Saturday. My wife's out of town. I got nothing better to do. I'm going to ride my bike and work on my game for the next 36, 48 hours. So here's a thought. Okay. So I had in my head this idea of directives, right? This screen pops up, you have 2 or 3 choices, you choose this directive, here's what you need to do, and then here's your reward. Which again, there's a nice simplicity to that. It works. Maybe that's enough. But what if those directives, those choices, were actually presented like this? So that again, you get that little bit, again, thinking of Samuel's comment of that roguelike. So instead of this being the tech tree, what we're doing instead is presenting your directives, your choices, and here's the rewards for them. So instead of and really the biggest difference would be instead of like spending this research resource on this upgrade, you're just having to go do this quest. So again, you can kind of see where you want to go. I love how the farm is way out there. Well, it's also in here. I don't know. That might be a bridge too far at this point. That might be kind of iteration number 2. I wonder what that feels like in terms of giving the player choice, giving the player like, hey, I'm going to choose this one because that's the one up there is the one I want. that brings a lot of difficulty in terms of making sure that the directives get, and I have this anyway, I have this challenge anyways, but it makes a challenge in the sense of making sure the directives are presented in an order that they can be achieved. But again, I have that tier system, so maybe that works. I don't know. Let's stick with the simple. Let's stick with the simple one first. I don't think it would be that hard to adapt the simple one to the procedural tree pathways. Yeah, nice card. That's kind of, yeah, theming wise. I'm so bad at like theming those things. I'm just bad at those things. But what you're saying there in terms of like, yeah, we're sending these off-world corporations, giving us a reward. Exactly where I'm headed with it. Again, I feel like building the systems is is fairly easy for me. I will refrain from saying what I'm good at, but it feels easy for me. It's those theming and that storytelling that oof, it's tougher. Dustin, yeah, you would see where a particular choice leads. So the way this tech tree is currently set up is it's not functional right now, but because it didn't get turned on the right way. But you can only choose a technology that's next to one that's currently unlocked. So you could pick your path through these things. Like, hey, I really want to get out here to the tank, so I'm going to find my path that direction. And again, one of the things that I like about this kind of procedural, not fully random, right, but procedural tech tree or quest tree is that it does make each run slightly different, and there's some strategy to it. Maybe. Yeah, Dustin. Yeah, I think you're. Yeah, next car's on the right, in the right direction. Oh, and let's air Dustin. Let me show you two. Let's see here if I can. I think my cheats will. Let's see if we got this. Okay, yeah. So spawning will happen here. So right now the enemies come out of the. Oh, that's not working quite right. That's definitely not working right. Anyways, they spawn over there. And they're all kind of themed to these little space alien insect reptile kind of things. What have you. Oh, and the other thing I forgot that I added here. So these crystals are where the enemy spawns from, and they're distributed throughout the world, which I thought was great. I like it. I've had that in the game for a while. But one of the questions came to mind of like, okay, well, why can't the player just go and like camp out there and destroy the crystal? So what I added recently was a now the crystal shoots back. I don't know if I don't think the damage mechanic's actually working right now, but I honestly don't know why the damage mechanic's not working, but so now the crystals have some self-defense. Yeah, the burrowing ability. I'm not sure why that's funny. I don't know why it did that. It's gotta have. I wonder if it's that tower that didn't get set right. There's something on that tower that didn't get set right. Let's look at our tower here and see. I wonder if like something didn't get tagged right, or well, not tagged, it's on the wrong layer. Very proud to say that there is no that should all be working. I'm not sure why that didn't work. There's no tags in this game. None at all. I'm not sure why. Oh, interesting. I know what happened. I'll have to do some testing on that one, but I think the collider for this is so large that maybe they didn't register as being inside of it. And so this crystal itself has a fog revealer as well. And so when they left that one, it must not have detected that they were in this other one. That's interesting. That's a good bug. Let's list that in our bugs here. Let's see. Enemies spawn inside a fog revealer. They don't see it. Let's see. Let's put some a little bit more comments. Test this by having a scout tower overlap a crystal spawn point. Cool. You guys are all over my ideas here. You guys are, you're just like, we're all on the same train of thought. Next card, you can't harvest the crystal. That's at least that's not the intent. But I was thinking that actually I think I'm basically stealing this mechanic from Creeper World 4, where there was a similar idea where you have these spawners, and what you have to do is build buildings next to them that will neutralize them. And so I think I'm gonna go that route, so that you can't just like fly your enemies over there and like destroy it. It's just, I think it's some level too easy, especially with these flying troops. It's just too easy. But what I'm gonna do, and again, I don't know if I'm gonna do this for the demo because I don't know if it's necessary. But yeah, you're gonna build some sort of like Tesla tower or something that will like send out some cool looking beams and like neutralize the tower, or neutralize the crystal rather. Generating electricity when you harvest it. There you go. You know, Adam, that's actually, yeah, that's not actually a horrible, that is not actually a horrible idea. Could make the mechanic, you guys are just giving me so many ideas. Seriously, this is why I stream. Could make the mechanics so that if it's shooting electricity, if there is an enemy inside, that electricity just pounds enemy units. Like right now, it's set to like it should have destroyed those infantry in like 3 or 4 hits. That it doesn't spawn when that's happening. Maybe that's too complex. It doesn't spawn when that's happening. And so when you put a building there to collect the energy, it keeps hitting the building, but it doesn't spawn. Maybe. Okay, let's play around here with the. Let's play around here with some options for UI for this. Let's come back to this directive idea. So let's play around with, let's build some, not UI and Nova. There we go. All right. Directive selection. Okay. Should probably go into our scene view. Beautiful. And let's do, we'll probably have it shrink to fit anyways here at some point, but let's do like, we're going to go bigger than that. We're going to go like 1,000. We're going to give ourselves enough workspace. Okay. Big ass screen. Okay. Directive selection. And then what we're going to do is put another block in there. And we're going to do like, let's call it like 450. I don't know, by, that's really big. I don't know. There's no way it's going to stay the same size. All right, that looks like a nice size. I like that size. Okay, directive selection. And I'm going to, despite the fact of what that looks like right now, we are going to make a prefab out of that. All right. Beautiful, beautiful prefab. All right, let's give that a different color so we can see it. Glad the post-processing is kicking in. Let's do the simple. Nope, that's not where we want to do it. We're going to add a button. It's too many buttons. Is that really what I want? Yeah, I think that is what I want, actually. Generic Nova button. Boop. Maybe that's not what I want. Yeah, that's not what I want. Okay. Nope. Wrong button. What have I done? What have I done? Why are we behaving like this? I don't know what's going on. All right. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing anything. Let's go build this on our other canvas. There we go. We're going to turn off this other distraction here for a minute. Okay, so I've got that. And we're going to have 3 of them for now. And then, oh, that is so not what I wanted to do. Oh, that is what I want to do. I'm just being an idiot. Okay. And then we're going to do some auto layout. We're going to go like that. And we're going to have some spacing between them like so. And then we're going to shrink and shrink. Perfect. Let's see. Adam, you got some more good suggestions here. Maybe it uses energy to spawn and shoot. So if it's shooting a lightning rod, it doesn't have enough energy to spawn. Yep. Cool. Like that. You could have like an energy meter that keeps filling over time, or pulsing light on the crystal or something. Yeah. Right now it's set to it's set to spawn at night. But yeah, totally. I think that's doable. All right, we're going to add a button. I think this is the button I want. Yep, there's the button I want. All right, there's our button. Boop. You have to pardon me if I start making sound effects. It'll probably happen. Okay, button. That is going to be our accept button. call it just accept for now. Let's scale that bugger up a little bit. And let's do some auto sizing. That's big. That's fine. Okay, we'll work on the sizing a little bit. I don't know about you guys. I can never remember whether padding is inside or outside, or margin is the inside or outside. I always have to fiddle around until I get it right. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna have that. Then, so that's kind of our accept button. Hey, you want this one. Then we're gonna have some very exciting, what the balls did I just, ugh. We're gonna put a text block in there that is going to go full width, and we're gonna do maybe 50% of the parent. Yeah. Like that. We're gonna I always feel like UI should be fun to build, and I actually have fun building UI with Nova, but it doesn't make it look better. It still can do a really shitty job of designing it. All right, let's get some text filler. What do you call that? Fake text generator, filler text. That's what I want. Give me a couple sentences. I really like doing this, putting in the different text. Often it just makes me feel like I can see better of what's going on. Let's see, let's do some auto scaling there. And we're gonna go up to like, I don't know if I actually want to auto, I may not actually want to auto scale that. Just because I might want some uniformity. Does justified look good? I don't know if justified looks good. Wait, was it fake testicles? Shh, don't tell anybody. I was looking that up the other day. I want to see that. Fake text generator. Fake text. Oh, sure, fake text. Text. I don't know. Maybe it's not going to come up again. That's hilarious. I'm so glad. With some fast eyes to catch that one. Love that. Oh, that's hilarious. All right. There's our text block. And then we're also going to add in, we'll come back and make this pretty at some point. We're going to add a container here. It's going to go full width. And maybe we're going to be, I don't know, it's 50%. Maybe this one will be 30%. And what did we put in this one for margin? We put in 5. Let's put in a margin of 5 as well. And that's going to have, let's see. Well, we need 2 of these. So what that's going to have, let's shrink that out. It's going to be 15%. This is going to have the, because again, I'm going to focus here on fetch quests at this point. We're going to have what we need there. We're going to have a visual of it. So I believe I can find the UI resource display. Yes, that's that is not what I was thinking that would be. Let's go take a look at it. So let's see. It is in, let's turn this off. Come back over here to our other canvas. It is in our unit info. Am I like looking at this backwards? Is that what's going on? I don't know why we're not. I've seen Nova do this occasionally. You're like, I'm just not going to render. Okay. Thanks, Nova. All right, what we're looking for here. Unit info button. Is that what I'm looking for? Yes. So basically what that allows me to do is show a icon and a number. So let's come back here. This is going to be requirements. Okay. And what we're going to do, then we're going to do some auto layout here, like so. We're going to center them. And maybe we'll give them like spacing of 3. Maybe in terms, instead of, we'll shrink to children like that and shrink like that. Okay. Okay. And there we go. I think that looks, I mean, it could be pretty reasonable. I tend to make my UI big. I've learned that like I tend to make it really, really big. But that works. There you go. Yeah. Post processing could be. I don't think it's actually. I don't know if I actually have. I don't have the built-in fog on, but you could be right that it is these things. Yep. Cool. That probably has to do something with the scaling or the scale of all this too. Cool. Thanks, Next Car. You almost always have a good suggestion on how to fix my problems. Okay, so we've got that. I'm gonna put these in the. Okay. Joy of working with the prefab. So then I'm going to put, now we need a reward. So what are you getting for this? Okay. Okay. And this, we're just going to stretch this out again. Something like that. Okay. This is going to have, this could, I mean, this could have a lot of different things, really. All right, reward description, we'll put that in there. Let's, maybe we'll grab a couple words there. Boop. And stick that in there. Let's make this size-wise. Maybe we'll make it 50%. And we'll go full height. Like that. Maybe we'll center it vertically. And then again, I just want to kind of think about, I don't want to get too general. We might have to have a couple different iterations of this, but if we're gonna go with a basic fetch quest of like, hey, that's gonna unlock a building, let's stick with that. Then what I'm gonna want here is another block to hold the reward icon. Cool. And that again, we're gonna go full height, and how big did I made this one 50%? Actually, let's do it this way. Let's go, we're gonna lock it in. Y is gonna be in charge, and we're gonna go full height. That's not what I want. Let's make it square first. And then we're gonna lock in the Y, and it's gonna go full height like that. Okay. And then it'll scale. Perfect. All right, and then we're gonna do auto layout again. Auto layout, and we're gonna go in the center. And let's give it some decent spacing. Nope. Well, that's not what I wanted. Okay, we'll do padding like that, and we're gonna make it do something like that. All right. Does it all make sense? I don't know. We're gonna shrink that up a little bit. We're gonna put resource requirements. We're gonna snap that there. And this is gonna snap down here. Okay, so we've got this all set up pretty okay. So let's put some auto layout here. We're gonna go vertical, and we're gonna align to the top. And then we need to center these. That's not the centering I want to do. I need to do this centered position. I know not everybody loves Nova, but to me, it's just like the layout is so easy to do. It's just fucking brilliant. Hey, Chance, say thanks for the support. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. You are, I mean, really, truly, very much appreciate that. I'm glad. Yeah, the game is really coming along. The game is coming along nicely. Game is coming along nicely. I'm not sure how much of you've seen. Give you a little playthrough here. That's looking pretty okay. Sweet. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah, Chance, let me show you here. I don't know how much you've seen. Let's turn off our space here. It's definitely coming along. A one wheel. I always kind of wanted to. I've ridden a one wheel once or twice. Not a skateboarder. Always kind of terrifying. Let's see. So this whole fog generation, all of what's going on right now, will happen behind a loading scene. So it does happen behind a loading screen. So I'm not gonna show up, but yeah. The drone functionality, yeah, it's come a long ways. It has come a long ways. I'll show you a little bit. So yeah, it's actually got color now. The buildings are not set yet exactly which ones are going to get created, which ones aren't going to get created. This fog of war got added recently. Wow, we're really got kind of an empty world here. Adam, yeah, yeah, and right. And thanks to Adam's suggestion, all when you place the solar panels, they all face in the same direction. Those two lines in the code will always memorialize Adam's contributions to the game. Look at that, all facing the same direction. Based on the shadows, they're not facing the sun, but you know, hey, you can't be perfect. Yeah, it's cool. And then let's see what else we got added in here. I know people pop in and out, so we'll show folks what's going on. And then so the idea is here, you got a whole bunch of buildings here. I've unlocked them all, just the cheat codes. You got a bunch of different buildings here. The number of buildings and the types that are going to go into the demo are going to, it's still up in the air. Then when night comes along, we got a little countdown here. That countdown starts when you kind of finish the first quote unquote tutorial of going through the steps. And then when night hits, you get some land generation. Oh, I also added this. I forgot about this. Actually, let's see if I can scroll over here. I added this that didn't show up last time. I think I like this. So I've got this marker now. This marker gets placed here so that the player has an idea of where the enemy is going to show up, which makes more sense if you don't have these scout towers. If you're starting on the smaller island, having these indicators show up. So anyways, the enemy spawns on the crystal here. And then it creates a tile bridge to your base. I really got to get the damage mechanic working. I broke it at some point, but and then once the enemy's all done, there's a bug. See if these guys will get them. There you go. Once the enemy is done, that's the end of the night. Day starts and your timer keeps going. The timer basically then gives you your time until your next spawn. Yeah, it's coming along. It's coming along, right? It's a lot of work. And as Adam and Nextcar were reminding me to not overscope the project any more than I already have. So right now we're working hard to polish this thing and get a demo up on the Steam page. And a trailer. This is the first time I've opened up a Steam page without a trailer, kind of as an experiment. See if you can get a few extra wish lists. I really got to get the visuals polished here and get a trailer up there. Cool. I don't know. It's feeling good to me. Yeah. Well, give you the usual sales pitch. Link in the description down on the Steam page. Add it to your wish list. I don't know when the demo is going to come out. Some days I feel like, hey, I could release a demo and just have this big, qualification like, hey, this is a beta at best, and start gaining feedback. Other parts of me, really want to make sure the demo is really tight and dialed. It'll probably be somewhere in between. All right, back to this thing, this lovely piece of UI. So let's go back in here. I think overall that's looking okay. I can live with the way this is right now. Okay, let's make it a little less offensive in terms of how ugly this thing is. let's do resource requirements. We're going to turn off. We're just, oh, right. Okay. Where did it go? Yeah, the other things are white too. So let's change the background here. We're going to do a sprite, and we're going to grab, I think, a hex box. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Hex box. And I think that we're going to go sliced. That's not quite right. Unpacked. Backed. Oh, that's just I was like, why is the texture so weird? All right, we just got to shrink it down. And let's crease the bottom. Just adjust that padding until it. I don't feel like I got the. That slicing does not look right at all. That looks better. We're gonna leave it like that. I don't know why that slicing is not. I don't know. Who knows? Okay, and our description text is going to be white again. And why are we? All right, let's change this thing here. We're going to go to raw size. I'm just going to change around how I'm doing this. Resource, Okay, shrink to children, that one's fine. This one, we're going to go back to given size, button. Great. And this one's going to, here we're going to shrink to children. Okay, I like it. Why is that button being weird? Hey, Tech Dave. Nice to see you again. You've come a long way from Where's My Lunch? Yeah, I actually kind of missed those days. I was actually digging through that project. Today. Somebody asked a question on Discord about Steamworks, and I was digging through that. And I was looking at it. I was like, oh, the project's so nice and simple. I do kind of miss that. I feel like that Where's My Lunch? Well, it ended up being called Grub Gauntlet. That I learned so much in that project. So much. I learned a lot in other projects too, but like I was back and like looking at that code base again today, and that was, stuff that I wrote 2 years ago, and I was like, oh yeah, that's perfectly reasonable code. Yeah, this is definitely a different project. Why aren't you lining up? I don't like it. Why is that not like? What is stupid button? What are you doing? This is. Well, that was definitely a little bit of a bug there. I don't know why that's happening like that. Padding's on the inside. scale. Is there a I don't know why that's being done like that. Directive, did that project cover the cost of the Steam page? No, it did not. the that game did not cover the cost of the Steam page. I I actually thought it was a half decent game. Um, I thought it was a half decent game. At least worth, an hour or two of like fiddling around and playing around, but it's horrible. It's actually the I'm really proud of that game, like from a like architecture standpoint and how it was put together. I think it was put together pretty well. Um, I knew early on. I knew early on that the game wasn't going to be successful. The number of wish lists was so low. Was so low. Um, I mean, yeah, even like a live stream, like I did live streams with it. I couldn't get anybody to watch or pay attention. Nobody was interested in the game. So I knew pretty much from the beginning that it wasn't going to be popular. Um, but even still, I was a little shocked that I couldn't at least sell 100 copies. I think I've sold, it was like 35 copies or something. And in fact, here, if anybody's interested, I'll do a little sales pitch here. If you come over here to my website, because it is sold so poorly, I decided, hey, let's give the freaking game away. Give me your email address for a mailing list. I've sent out like 3 emails. The last one was like 2 years ago. But if you sign up for the email list, you'll get an email with a link to a free Steam key to Grub Gauntlet. If anybody wants to come check it out. I actually thought it was a halfway decent game, but clearly I'm biased and I don't need to buy the game. And nobody else enjoyed it. Anyways, yep. If anybody wants a free copy of it, head over to my webpage, sign up for the newsletter. I don't know how long the email takes to get to you, maybe a couple minutes, and you'll have a Steam key you can redeem for the game. Yeah, thanks, Benjamin. Yeah, somebody I was watching a video. I'm part of his Discord. Probably a lot of people are aware of him. I forget his name, Chris something or other, I think. He's been doing a lot of stuff on how to market your game, and he was basically saying like Steam is a horrible place to try to sell a puzzle game. Perm's like, okay, but where's an okay place to sell a puzzle game? And I think admittedly, like if the game worked better, if it got converted to like an iPad, like touch screen, it could potentially, I think it could reach a bigger audience there. I also think like there was a few gameplay videos, a few people played the game, they picked, they got a free key or who knows how they got the game, and did a little bit of streaming, and they like didn't read the little hints on the screen, like to help them play. And so they got stuck and stumped and they quit, which is on me, right? That's 100% on me. But I was giving some thought to maybe like going back and restructuring the tutorial a little bit, maybe adding some voice to be like, hey, here's what you should be doing. Like add voice to those tips. And but to do that, if I do that, I don't know. Does it pay off? I don't know. Even if I add that, it doesn't mean anybody's ever gonna like interact with it. So we'll see. But if I did do that, if I went and added that extra that voice, I'd probably just use some AI voice generation or something. Like if I did add that as a helper, I could push some buttons in the Steamworks backend to get a little bit of a marketing push. I don't know. All right, let's grab a building here. What do we want to unlock first? All right, we're gonna unlock the tower. How's that? That's just gonna be our placeholder for now. The button is really bothering me. Why button are you being dumb? All right, we'll make you be less dumb that way. Yeah, something's weird. I must have something. Is something still stuck to like percentage? Okay, those sides are fixed. That's set to, yeah, that's set to V. My brain like not working for V. All right, that's just shrinking to children, so that should be fine. I don't know why that button's being dumb. But let's get rid of that background. I feel like this thing just needs to be bigger. Whoa. All right, let's go to 20 there, and then we'll do... I think it's just these different padding things kind of fighting with each other. And my... So the issue is that the... So that's not changing the size, which is interesting. Okay. So let's just manually make this bigger. Shrink to children is 340. What black magic is going on right now? Okay, so it's actually like you can see how big it is, and this is because we're not sliced right. Okay, if we slice it, then that's a whole lot better. Okay, that makes more sense. And this has got some funny margin on it, which is okay. That's not sure why it's so pixelated. That's not what I wanted. Might have to go and look how I did that on places. Nukes. I know, Adam. I gotta get the nukes back. I like this idea though. One of the things I like about this directive thing here is this unlocking of units here like this. Like this feels like a nice way to bring in the tech tree. I don't know. I feel like it's a nice putting it all together. And like what I'm doing now, this UI that I'm building here is just simple, right? It's just dead simple. It feels like a simple way to do this. Again, thinking about that feature creep of like, don't get things too freaking complex. Okay. Let's fix this here. Let's do some adjustments here. So this is going to be, we're just going to fix the font size. I always make text or UI too big. 100% of the time. I make it too big. But what we're going to do is shrink to children on this text. And I think, yeah. Apparently I just found some new hotkeys for, right. Then we'll resize. Okay, good. Let's go back to that. And let's do, I don't know if I actually want to have that resized, to be honest. We'll play with it. Okay. I'm okay with how that looks roughly. So So let's go back in here and see how it looks together. So let's turn off the visual of, I think I want to turn off, nope, not that one. I want to turn off that one. And what we do need is probably a label or a heading or something here. There's a lot of freaking white text on the screen. Don't love it. Hey, Diego. Hey, I'm glad you're liking the videos. I don't know what the issue is. A year and a half ago, I was a full-time, more than full-time classroom teacher. And I was like making videos on the regular. And now that I'm a work from home and like this is my workspace, I thought, hey, I got these flexible hours. Like I work as a Unity developer now. I spend all my time in Unity. I'm going to have all this time to make more videos. And like, I'm making them so much slower now. I have like 3 videos right now that are about 3/4 of the way, like with the idea is like 3/4 or more fleshed out. So I don't know if at some point they're just going to be like, boom, boom, boom. I actually have videos coming out again. I don't know what my problem is. I really thought a change of careers and I'd be making a lot more videos, but I do think that too, there's an issue too of like, and if you look at any larger channel, any channel that's successful, they really struggle to make useful videos. If you look back at like, if you could like find when that graph or that channel like hit their inflection point and really took off, if you look at the videos that they created just before that and just after that, those are like their best videos. And then after a while, it gets hard. It gets hard to make videos. Okay. So the next step here, we got some basic UI. Yeah, it's passable right now. It needs some details. It needs some headers and what have you. But I think we have our major fields here in terms of what our data is going to fill out. I do think actually I want to go into, I'm going to turn off the body of the outside there. Did that not? Wait a minute. Why didn't that work? Okay, we'll just turn off the border. I think I like that better. Oh yeah, let's get rid of that body too. Yeah, I like that. And maybe I've got a nice green tint somewhere. We'll kind of give that accept a nice green tint. Yeah. And see what you have to say here, Adam. That's how my retirement from the Army has been. It was like, I have all day to do, yeah, right? Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like, it's one of the things I like. I think a lot of us dream of making games full time, making our own game full time, and I still definitely have that dream. But I do wonder if like that's actually a little bit of a curse, right? Getting to do your hobby all day, every day. I think for some people that's awesome, but I wonder for a lot of us. I think for me, like making videos was a way of taking that like teacher skill of like, okay, there's this idea we want to explain. How do we put it together and send it out there in a good format? So I used those skills, but it was also like a departure from my day-to-day job, day-to-day work. And so it kind of was served as a break, and it doesn't anymore. But I mean, again, I also think like, I think over the years, this isn't to toot my horn or anything like that. I think I just put more and more pressure on myself to make better and better videos. And like I was saying, I think watching channels that have blown up, at some point their videos often become really shitty, if we're honest. And the pressure I didn't want to do that. I've never wanted to make a video just to make a video. Um, it became incredibly apparent and obvious maybe 2 years ago that YouTube, unless I was going to like make my own course and just be a shill for my own shit and try to shovel it in down people's throats, it wasn't going to make any money. And so what's the point of just like making videos to make videos and collect another 10,000 subscribers? Like, we're going to make videos when it makes sense to make videos. I'm not about to stand up on YouTube and start like shoveling shit down people's throats and be like, hey, buy my course, buy my hoodie. Just to make a few extra bucks. It ain't worth it. All right. Let's see, Dan. Working with Unity UI is definitely the second least fun of Unity game development. 100%. And I don't know if you caught here, I'm not actually using Unity's UI. I am not. My day job, I end up using the Unity UI system from time to time, and with any system, there's trade-offs. One system does something better, the other system does something better. But man, whenever I have to deal with these kind of like layout things, I'm so glad to be using Nova here. Use this system. It is so much easier. It really needs a header. I don't know what it really needs a header. Right now, yeah, Adam, now you need a hobby to escape from your hobby. Okay, let's do a little bit of quick coding here. I probably got another, I don't know, I've got another 15, 20 minutes here, and I'm going to call it quits for today. My wife is heading out of town tomorrow. I get to be single for 48 hours. So I think I will likely be streaming again tomorrow. Who knows what time? And probably Saturday too. See if we can crank out some work. Okay, let's do some quick coding here and see what we can get done. This UI folder is way too big, but let's make it bigger. All right. Okay, so I've already used the term a directive, unfortunately. We're gonna call it a quest. We're gonna call it a quest for now because that sucks though. Because I actually think this is gonna tie in pretty nicely to our current directive. Let's call it directive selection. All right. yeah, next car, yeah, right. Anytime my wife leaves, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get all this productivity. It's not that I love spending time with my wife, don't get me wrong, but she wants to spend time with me and I want to spend time with her. Like, I always have these, incredible visions of like, I'm gonna crank out so many videos and get them all edited. I'm gonna get so much work done on my project. And then in all reality, like, I like struggle to feed myself. Which is funny because I'm the one that does most of the cooking. But she leaves and I'm like, macaroni and cheese for the third night in a row. Sounds perfect. All right, let's get rid of all that garbage. But I'm hoping to stream tomorrow. I might try nighttime for me. I'm kind of curious. I'm always streaming this time because my wife's at work and I'm done with work, and so it doesn't conflict. But I'm kind of curious if I can actually get folks to join on a Friday night or a Saturday night, or who knows. Yeah, Tech Dave. Yeah, Nova. Is it on sale? Let's go take a look. I mean, it got way cheaper. They knocked the price way down. I think they moved it back up again. Yeah, they did move it up again. So it's $60 now. But yeah. Dan Harris, this is the tool that I'm using right now. I think it is fantastic. Oh, here's the other thing. They've added blur to it. I kind of want to see if I can make that happen for my UI as well. I think it's fantastic. It's the downside to it is also the upside. The downside is one of the upsides. It is if you get the paid version, there's a free version too. There's a free version that's fully functional. It just doesn't have human readable code. But if you get the paid version, you get all the source code, and so everything is modifiable. Everything is modifiable. And the developers, their vision when they started this all was to just kind of provide this blank framework to create anything you wanted. And that meant that you had to like create your buttons and your toggles and all that stuff and all the code behind it. And they kind of decided, I think they just got feedback of like, why would you do it that way? Like, give us a button to start with. And as a result, some of the buttons some of their UI controls, their samples they give aren't as complete as they might be. But again, you have all the source code, so you can get in there and change the behavior of whatever you want. The other huge upside is the layout control. The layout control is just so much better. It's not perfect, but I almost kind of have fun building UI. No more horizontal groups or vertical groups or layout elements or none of that shit. Okay, what do we need here? So we're going to have again, let's see how much we can get done here in the next little bit. UI block, 2D. This is going to be a description. Then we are going to have we're going to have another serialized field of we're going to have, actually that's not going to be a UI block 2D. It's going to be a text block like that. This is going to be a text block, reward text like that. We're going to have UI block, reward icon like that. And then we need a container for our resource or our requirements there. I'm just going to keep them in order of how they appear. This is just going to be a transform, so requirement parent. Okay, requirement parent. And then we're going to have some prefabs here. Prefabs, and what I'm thinking ahead here a little bit is, so, right, we can have this kind of typical fetch quest of like, hey, we need 300 iron ore, blah, 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 blah. And I think we'll start with that basic mechanic, but you could also, like, a lot of these building games often will have like, hey, we need you to build X number of this building, which again, maybe that's not different from a fetch quest. But UI wise, it'll be a little bit of a different representation. Hey, Dan Harris, definitely, if you're going to go look at, sorry, just saw your comment here. Definitely check out the free version first. I mean, unless you really want to take advantage of the sale. I don't know how long the sale is. Check out the free version. It is fully functional. You can put it in builds. You can test it out. The developers sent me my copy for free, and I did a couple sponsored videos for them probably a year ago. I spent about a month with Nova before taking the dive. And I think a lot of people get excited about it because they've got really nice looking demos and videos, and they've done a really nice job of that. And don't play around with it quite enough. to see the upsides and downsides. So I always caution people for that a little bit. Right, let's make this a little bit bigger so folks can see. All right. We're going to have our resource requirement. We'll probably come in and change that a little bit. Actually, I think there is a, let's go look at that resource. I think there's a class on it. No, there's not actually. That's interesting. Oh, there's an item view. Okay. Oh, right. Forgot about that. I always forget about that part of Nova. So Nova has these list views, which you can just like feed it data from a list, and it will create the UI objects for you and just fill out the list for you, right? So like in this case, what I'll do is provide the list view a copy of this prefab, and then the icon and the number, and then it'll just like fill in the list for me. You again have full control of that, but it's pretty slick. And it also then, in the case of like a scrolling list, it'll do the object pooling for you. I totally forgot about that. So this actually needs to be a list view. You can also do it the old school way of like instantiating your own prefab, sticking them in there. That totally works as well. Let's call this, we're going to rename this a little bit here then. Resource requirement. Okay. Okay, resource display, we're just going to call it that, blah, blah, blah. And we're gonna have to come back and change a bunch of this. Building display. What am I typing? All right. Oh yeah, it's part of the Black Friday sale. Yeah. Definitely try the free version, and look up. I haven't watched their latest series, Nova's latest series of videos, but they've got a series of 5 videos on their YouTube channel of some basics. You know, I don't know what it'll take you 20 minutes, maybe an hour to work your way through the tutorials, and it'll show you the basics of how to set things up. And there's definitely some quirks, right? It's a new system. And as long as you like have in your head the idea of like, this is a totally new system that I'm going to have to learn, it's pretty good. I think a lot of people just expect it to be like, you know, magically AI telepathic powered or something. I don't know what people imagine it to be. Okay. So let's see. That was probably a great sound to come across the microphone. Okay, set directive. Let's see how Copilot dealt with that. Not particularly well. We're going to bring in, I already have directives created, so I'm going to see if I can morph these together. That needs to be that. Set image. The other thing I did, when I was moved to Nova was, I don't know what the hell it's doing here. What's happening? When I moved to Nova, I'd already started my project with UGUI. I was actually delightfully surprised how easy it was to move everything over to Nova. It's things like text, dot text is now capital T instead of lowercase t. A lot of the calls are very similar. All right. Okay, we're gonna add a building requirements there. So let's see if we can. We're gonna do on enable and see if I can remember. Can I remember how to do this? Add data binder. Okay. And so the way like the list view works, let's see. I love the list view system, but there's something about it that's not 100% intuitive. So I'm gonna go look here for another class where I've already set this up. Okay, add data binder, blah, 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 blah. Okay, right, I forget my generic arguments. Okay, let's go. Let's grab that same type, unit button visuals. And I will admit that there is some aspect of it that I feel like they over-engineered a little bit. In their desire to make it as generic and flexible as possible, they let's see what else. What actually? Yeah, and their desire to make it as flexible and generic as possible, it suffers a little bit from the problems when you try to make your code too generic. You end up with some boilerplate, what have you. Let's not set that one for right now. We haven't set that up right now. We're gonna do this one. Yeah, I wish Copilot too. I wish it was a little bit smarter. I will say though, Copilot, like, it shocks me sometimes how good it is. I have a former student that I'm still tutoring, and he's doing a computer. I don't know what the name of the class is. It's calculus on computers. So it's like third semester calculus, but done in MATLAB. So he's learning how to solve differential equations. He's learning how to integrate and do derivatives and curve fitting and all this kind of good stuff. It's really good stuff that I haven't necessarily done before. And he does it in MATLAB, which I don't have, but sometimes I'll try to reproduce the code in C#, and holy crap, Copilot will figure out, just like, it has the algorithms. Like last night where I was doing Euler's method to solve a system of differential equations. And like, I just like started typing function names and it just started filling it out and like dumped the algorithm right there in front of me. How the hell? That's funny. Mike's car, that's funny. Really? Given your profile information, your existing skills, this shouldn't be a problem. That's hilarious. I gotta say, I'm not on the AI bandwagon as much as some people are. Like, I think it's really cool. I think it's very interesting. Like a lot of what Unity showed off today at the Unite keynote speech, and they've showed it off before. I'm like, just not. I don't think it's quite there yet. It's not production ready. I'm not sure. It's moving beyond novelty, but I think AI like Copilot that works alongside you makes a lot of sense. The truly generative AI, I don't know. I'm not against it per se, but I'm also not sold that it's doing its thing. Okay. Anyways, there we go. That's how we set up the list view. We add a data binder. So really what we're doing there is we're telling it what kind of things are going to be coming into it and then giving it a function. So whenever we send data to the list view, this function here is going to tell it what to do. And actually, let's just go copy it how I did it before. Well, let's do it like this. Nope, that didn't work. My text is too big. I can't see it all. Play error. Okay. So I'm just copying that over. And so again, what's happening here is, right, we're going to be sending in this resource amount, which has the type of resource and a number with it. And then we're going to use that type to go get a icon. We set that icon. We set the image to that. We also grab a resource color so it can be color coded. Then we get the amount and we set that to our text. And then we create a tooltip as well. Awesome. Hey, Kiwi, thanks for joining. Long nights. Yeah, I'm looking forward to, I haven't listened to your last, have I? I don't know if I've listened to, I downloaded it, but I got distracted. Doing something else. I haven't listened to your last version of the music. I'm excited to listen to it. I liked where it was going. All right, let's do a few more bits and pieces here. We're not going to fix this, but maybe we can continue this with the next stream tomorrow. Okay, let's go look at our this thing here. So this is our directive base. That's not actually probably the type we want to have come in. Let's go look at all our different directives. Collect resource directives. That's probably the one we want. Why is there only one? Yeah, no, I appreciate your patience and just kind of overall approach to it of like chill and just have fun with it, both on my end and your end. I very much appreciate it. All right, let's see. I'm not going to get much farther than this today. I can feel myself getting tired. All right. So what's happening here? I'll show you real quick here. Why don't I show you what we're working on, what I'm working on, and maybe then I'll call it quits because I got a little restructuring to do here, some things I need to think about. So I'm going to comment that out so I can save without errors. So what I'm working on here, some of this isn't, some of this isn't in, well, a fair amount of this isn't in the version that you have. I know, we're going to skip that version. So what I'm working on here is this little UI here. So I'm working on the code that's going to populate all the information here. And the idea right now, and this is kind of a half step to, it's a first step in what might be a couple steps, is to give the player some choice here. You're going to have 3 directives to choose from. And these directives are essentially quests, right? We're going to, given the name of the game and kind of the theme of the game, they're going to be directives. The player gets to choose a directive. There'll be a little bit of a description here, I think. And then we've got these icons here. These are the, for right now, we're again keeping it super simple. Fetch quest, go get these resources, blah, blah, blah. Have some resources, and then you'll have your reward. And right now, what I'm kind of slating it to do is when you finish this directive, it'll unlock a building. Or maybe like as Nike's car was suggesting, it like you get some tech points or some research that can be applied to something else. So trying to build that up. And the reason again that I'm trying to do that is to complete this game loop. So right now, like you land on the world, you build your base. I mean, you've played it at least a little bit. And then the question is like, well, what do I do next? And so the directives are going to be intended as a way of kind of guiding and motivating the player to go out and do some new things. So let's see. And so right now, like the theme of it's going to be, so the supply ship here, let's let this thing get built, is like you're part of a corporation, you're part of something. I need to solidify that theme. And you're here to collect resources and ship them off world to support your corporation, to support a war effort or something. I need to work on the theming. And then if you, so you'll bring stuff, you'll bring supplies over the supply ship. It will fill up with cubes, like that. And then it'll be able to take off. Yeah, Kiwi. So yeah, like sort of a technology tree. And so as I was saying, like it might be a like half step or first step. What I also have here, and people that have been tuning in here for a little bit have seen this. Let's see if I can open this up. So what I've got here is a tech tree here. And this is prototyped. It's obviously, it needs some love. But this is a procedural tech tree where the colors kind of represent different tiers of UI or different tiers of upgrades. So you'll start with the white ones, and then you can only unlock ones that are next to it. And then, so it kind of gives the player a vision of like, hey, I want to go get this one. So these are the things I need to go do. I think what we're working on currently may morph itself into this tech tree here. I like that idea because again, it gives the player choice. Choosing between 3 is fine, but being able to actually like plot out your path might make the choice a lot more meaningful. So anyways, yeah, we're working on version 1. This might be version 2 and replace just the strict tech tree with a quest tree, if you will. Let's see here. Let's see. I'll answer a few last questions here. Aiden here. So what do I use for pathfinding? The pathfinding. So these little guys that are flying around, the shuttles. So there's a couple of different pathfinding systems going on here. The shuttles here, they're not using pathfinding. They're just using do tween. I'm tweening. So there's some code that just, there's 3 tweens involved. They go up, they go over and down. And the length of if you're familiar with tweening, usually you have to set a duration time, and that duration time is just based on the distance that they have to go so that they look like they're moving at constant speeds. Well, they are moving at constant speeds, so hopefully you know what I You're gonna go wish list it. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah. I'm not good at like plugging my own game, but if you guys are liking what you're seeing, there's a link in the description down below. Go give the game a wish list. I'm hoping to have a demo and a trailer out in the next few months. If you wish list and follow the game, you'll definitely get some notifications on that. Getting those wish lists is so hard. so hard. Let's see here. Morphed. Game is looking nice. I wish the water had animations and trees would sway. Yep. That would probably add a good chunk. One of the things that I'm concerned about is just general performance. But those would be nice to have things for sure. Nice to haves. Right now, the world gets pretty sizable, and so let's see if I can. Yeah, there's our limits right now. I need to make the pathfinding smaller. Oh, so here's the other pathfinding. I'm using A-star pathfinding, and so you can see that's what this purple is. You can see that it's broken up into hexagons that fit on the tiles. So basically that's only used by the enemy characters. But I need to shrink that down. I think it's like kind of a minor optimization to shrink that down. But I think you guys are right. Trees moving, the water moving would really add a lot. I also think even just like, I've thought about like at some level zooming in so that if you're near the forest or there's some like little dust particles or leaves moving around, add some detail. I like the minimalist low poly look, but those little details would really help bring it home. Yeah, you're probably right. The using some sign thing. The only issue I have with the water is because they're all separate tiles. You can see there from like that angle there that how the water comes back down at the seams so that they match up. I wonder if I could almost looking at like it was just making me wonder if I could like get away with like a small, like, could I just animate values on the shader itself? Or put a little texture on it and animate it a little bit. Yeah. I 100% agree with you guys. Those little details would be good. Some of it's just a little bit beyond what I know how to do and know how to do well. But I should add those things to wish list. Let's see what else you guys got to say here. Yeah, simple vertex position shader would do it, almost no performance cost. Yeah. Doing the water animation, see, in a vertex shader is pretty lightweight. I made a deformable tire shader and was easily able to have 1,024 on screen ones. Yeah, I remember Nextcar seeing some of your shader work. It was pretty sweet. Oh yeah, you're right, Nextcar. The world position. I wonder if that world position will that keep the seams together though? I wonder. All right. Well, somebody find a tutorial or a blog post or something about how to put together a simple vertex shader like that for me. Stick it in Discord. Stick it in my Discord. Yeah, I guess you're probably right. The seams would stay together because the points on the different hexagons should have the same location. Yeah, if anybody knows of a good write-up on that, I know that's a fairly simple shader, but I'm pretty shader ignorant. Let's see, morphed here. Scroll noise texture using world coordinates, UVs, and displace vertices. Yeah, it would all make it seem cool. Yeah. I think you're right. I think those things would all be nice. I'm always concerned about feature creep, but that again, what I'm trying to do here in the next few months is get the visuals looking really nice for a demo or a trailer. And I think you guys are right. That would bring some life, because like right now, nothing's moving, right? Nothing's moving. There's a little jiggle in the shadow quality, but that's it. Like nothing's moving, which isn't going to be the normal thing, right? I just don't have enough buildings here, but that water could look really nice. I also really like the idea of like if you zoom down in here, there's like leaves or dust blowing around. I don't really know how to trigger the particle effects like that though. There's got to be some way to kind of, I don't want to be constantly doing distance checks on all the particles, but it'd be cool if you zoomed down, if you could get some of the dust blowing around or whatever. I'm gonna have to add these to my to-do list, or not my to-do list, wish list. Next card, yeah, I am using URP. Yep. All right. I think I'm gonna call it quits. I don't know if anybody's noticed, I got my camera attached to my desk so I can do this standing up, which is so nice, but now I'm getting tired of standing up. And my brain's kind of full. I do appreciate everybody joining. Definitely do. I'm going to call it quits for now. For those of you guys who are kind of new to the stream, I do try to stream most Thursdays. I'm not going to stream next Thursday, big holiday here in the States, for those of you who aren't in the States. And it'll be, you know, I take holidays off and what have you, but do try to stream most Thursdays this time. But this week, my plan is to stream again tomorrow at some point. Might be kind of a spontaneous, hey, I'm just going to stream, and then hopefully do some streaming on Saturday as well. Get a chunk of work done. And again, like, you guys bring in a ton of great ideas. I think on a day like today, you guys give me more work than I get done, but all the same, I really do appreciate it. Every game I've ever made, I've streamed, and I get more. I get a lot of really good ideas from the folks that are watching. So, anyways, thank you guys so much. Yeah, hit that subscribe button or whatever if you want to get notifications of going live. If I have an idea of when I'm going to go live, I'll post it. But yeah, keep an eye out for me. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Until next time. Have a good day. It's always hard to end these things. Feels awkward. You're in a room talking to yourself. What are you going to do? Anyways, thank you guys. See you guys next time.